How does philosophy lead to liberation, enlightenment, and ultimate happiness? To answer this question, I turn to the Buddhist tradition, which, in my view, has answered this question with great meticulousness. From the Buddhist perspective, people value the eternal because they believe that the eternal provides them a refuge from that which they consider unreliable. Human life has many difficulties, many problems arise. People become untrustworthy. Friends transform into enemies. The political arena appears thick with deceit, while children sometimes turn against their parents. Fame vanishes, wealth disappears, youth rapidly fades, etc. Where in this world can one find something reliable? Or to use Buddhist terminology, where in this world can one find something to take refuge in? Buddhism views most human activity as based on ignorance. For example, people pursue wealth because they believe that wealth will protect them, that they can take refuge in wealth. They are mistaken in this belief, but it remains a very powerful belief. Or people pursue fame in the belief that fame will be an enduring accomplishment. This is not true. Last decade's movie star is only a dim memory, but once again, people believe that it is true and so base much of their activity on this assumption. Or people believe that they can take refuge in power, that if they have enough power, the world will become reliable. Once again, history shows this not to be the case, as even the most totalitarian tyrants, more often than not, succumb to opposition. Critical philosophy has the function of demonstrating that none of these goals provides a basis for the eternal, that none of these goals provides a meaning for finding a refuge in this world, that none of these goals provides a means for finding a refuge in this world, and that none of these goals forms a foundation for lasting happiness. This misunderstanding as to the true nature of existence, meaning the nature of eternity, leads to suffering and unhappiness. This explains why Buddhism, for example, spends a great deal of time critiquing the idea that these goals and their attendant activities can provide security or happiness. This explains why Spinoza, in the essay just quoted above, critiques the primary goals of wealth, power, and fame, which so strongly motivate most of human activity. Constructive philosophy has the function of elucidating where the domain of eternity exists, and of what that domain consists. Because philosophy can accomplish these tasks, it provides the basis for liberation because it grants access to the eternal, to the true refuge. Finding this refuge proves a source of genuine happiness, genuine equanimity, genuine ecstasy. Communicating this understanding to others constitutes the great act of kindness and compassion on the part of philosophy, for without this communication, it would be much more difficult for people to enter the kingdom of heaven. By enlightenment, I mean realizing the nature of the eternal, the unborn, the deathless, Buddha nature, the ultimate, the Tao, the Logos, the transcendent. Philosophy enlightens us as to this nature, as stated above, by demonstrating that many of those things that people think of as eternal do not in fact turn out to have an eternal nature, and by pointing directly to the nature of the eternal itself. By liberation, I mean residing in that eternal nature. The eternal provides the only true refuge in this world, the only source of enlightenment. Philosophy shows us how to live in the presence of the eternal by elucidating a way of life conducive to that eternal presence.